Hey guys, Chris here with Indie Farm Life. So today I want to show you guys a little bit about this CountyLine 25-ton log splitter we got. So a little bit of it will be a review. Some of it I just want to show you how this thing works. For any of you guys out there who don't have one or looking to buy one, maybe this will give you guys a little bit of insight to see if this is a model that might work for you. So if you want to go something a little bigger, and just kind of get a feel for what this thing can do. All right, so a couple things to point out right away. One, I really like this thing has a Kohler motor on it. In my opinion, they've been pretty strong. I had a grasshopper that had over 10,000 hours on a gas Kohler engine. So overall, pretty happy with that. Another nice thing is the fill plug here for the hydraulic fluid is right here back on the axle. So there's not another tank anywhere that you have to deal with or move around. Also, Tractor Supply typically has these filled for you, so a little bit of cost savings there too, without having to buy the hydraulic fluid. So a couple things about this log splitter that's very similar to most. The handle works similarly for all of them. Whoops. Push it forward, you're getting splitting, it's moving the wedge toward the wood. When you let go, it's auto stop. This one does have this, not all do, but as you pull it back, it will stay back to retract all the way into the back position or storage position until it hits all the way back, and then it will auto stop. So that's kind of convenient if you're working by yourself to kind of have it working back as you're going, and then for it to auto stop. One of the other nice things, so as you can see, occasionally get quite a bit of debris underneath that hydraulic cylinder there. Try to keep it cleaned out. But it does have a quick pin here to pull this, lift that hydraulic cylinder up a little bit to get some of that stuff out of there. Also makes it nice there to have that pin just in case you need to pull it off to repack the seals or anything on that cylinder. It's kind of a convenient spot. One other thing worth mentioning with this splitter, so with this pin right here, so currently you can see we're here in the horizontal splitting position. With this pin, pulling that out, this can raise all the way. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but can raise all the way to go into the vertical splitting position as well. Sometimes if you're by yourself, that's a little bit easier on your back than loading some heavy logs up on top of that I-beam there. So a couple negatives with this thing. First being the wheels slash lack of suspension slash axle housing, if you want to call that, on this thing. I towed this home about 5 miles to my house. I wouldn't be comfortable doing it any more than that. If you can see, these wheels have kind of a little bit of a bow to them out, and there is not much in the way of down there of strength. So if possible, I'd trailer this thing if you had to take it far distances. It might be okay. You can just see how that tire is kind of laying in there towards that black beam. So it's got that axle down there, that spindle it's on has just a lot of play in it. The other thing I'd consider a downfall with this is that this log catcher right here, that does not come with the log splitter. They're not super expensive to buy. I think 50, 60 bucks you can get one. The other thing is that this model log splitter, I believe we got in 2017. This new log catcher did not fit without modifications a little bit on this model. So as you can see, move this out of the way, the holes that were already there do not line up. So I was able to use one hole here and then had to drill out another one to get this to mount where we wanted it. So that it was useful for us to use. Otherwise, it was not going to line up just as was from the factory. So not a huge deal, but I did have to drill a hole through that I-beam there. So one more thing with this engine that's on this, we've had pretty good luck. I've ran it probably 5 to 6 hours now, maybe an hour all at once, 6 separate times of an hour running each. It's been pretty strong. Starts up pretty easily. Usually 1 or 2 pulls and it starts. I will say this most recent time we were using it, we had it running for about an hour and it did die on us. Had to keep trying to restart it. It fire for a minute, So took the air filter off, sprayed some choke cleaner in there. The gas was good, it had been treated. Didn't want to really run with starting fluid, so we let it cool down, took the gas cap off, and it did end up firing back up. So I do believe it maybe is the cap. I believe it is maybe not venting quite right, so it's kind of creating a vapor lock in there. But I will keep you guys posted on that. Otherwise, it's been pretty strong. All right, guys, I'm gonna show you what this thing can do in about a half hour, okay? Take a look. And you'll notice only 2 pulls and it started right up. Side note, don't mind the glove that's hanging off my shorts for half of this. All right, so you guys saw the 30-minute time lapse. You can kind of see right there where that old or the little bit of weathered wood ends and the new starts. That's where we had started stacking today. So you can see there about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes. I stopped the time lapse around 30 minutes, just after 30 minutes, and we went for another 10 or 15 minutes or so. So you can see how efficient that thing is with 2 people. You know, take a look at some of the logs, the size of the thickness of the logs we were going through. Some oak, elm, which is pretty stringy, nasty stuff if you guys have split any of that before. But you know, didn't have any problems going through it all by any means. The other thing that it's a super time saver that you guys I'm sure could see from that video was just having the log catcher on that splitter. So for me, that'd be a huge thing if it came with the splitter and not have to purchase separately. But it's definitely worth the purchase either way, because it saves so much time. Saves time if you're doing it with 2 people, even more I'd say if you're doing it by yourself. All right, guys, I hope you found that somewhat useful. Like I said, it's not a ton of stuff to review about. I mean, most log splitters have a general or generally have some of the same features. You know, not a whole lot special about this versus some of the others. But just to give you an idea how it works, at least, you know, to see tonnage, what you're getting into. You know, they make maybe a 28 ton, 30 ton. I honestly can't imagine needing any more than what we have. You know, it hasn't ever really struggled to get through anything. So appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring that little bell so you keep getting notifications when we post new videos. Take care, guys.